Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Alex Mack, part of the Call to Action crew, and you're hanging out with me for tonight's episode of Schmoebates, where we fight and argue to the death to answer Schmoedown's biggest questions here tonight, every single flippin' floppin' Wednesday. Thank you so much for coming. Kelsey, what's up, boo?
Not much. I'm just trying to survive being isolated. You know, it's so nice to get to be here tonight, get some interaction with people, and of all matches to get to be a co-host on, I am so excited this is one of them because this is going to be amazing.
I'm sure everything you're experiencing now is a completely isolated situation. No one else is experiencing that, right?
Nope, just me.
Definitely not. Definitely not. All right, fantastic. Yes, well, we are going to be watching these two amazing, huge, recognizable monsters of Schmoedown. Holy crap. Really kind of debate these really big, awesome questions. So it's going to be all that in a bag of chips. So thank you guys for coming along. So we're going to go ahead and do some quick introductions of these fine-ass people. All right. For our first competitor, you may know him as the Beast. You may know him as the one that stands forever, the forever standing. We also know him as just a pretty chill dude with a Hawaiian shirt. What's up, my man, Bibbs?
What's up, y'all?
What's up?
How's everybody doing?
Doing spit. How you doing?
Alex Mack, I would like to thank you for letting us into your secret life.
It's not secret. My life is everywhere on here. I don't have a life outside of here. That's
well, no one does anymore. And Kelsey, it's a real pleasure to see you again as well. It's an honor and a thrill, and I can't wait to try to watch my volume. I promise. I will try.
Not kidding. I remember chatting with you in LA for Spectacular. I feel like it was forever and a day ago. Like, oh my gosh. But I remember chatting with you over there, and I remember asking, I was like, hey, I would love for you to be on Schmoebates. It's like a Schmoedown debate show and everything. I would love for you to be on. And you were like, yes, I would love to be on it, but I want to go up. Can I have a request to go up against Rocha? And I felt like it was like such a fleeting moment considering the chaos of that day. But it was like definitely something I was like, if I can make this happen, it will be the most amazing thing ever. And it's happening. Yeah.
I don't remember that, but that sounds like me.
It was a pretty big day for sure.
Yeah, that was a very hectic, crazy day for a million reasons. It was a real pleasure to see you there. And once again, since I haven't talked to you guys in a long time, congratulations on winning your Schmoey.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, it's like we definitely work hard here, so we're hoping it pulls through.
Is there anyone else joining us today? Is it just me?
We're just going to talk to you.
We're going to be inviting our second competitor. I was like, I feel like we can just like hang out with this all day. I was like, we're going to invite our second competitor, the badass. Oh my gosh, the original horseman, current belt holder, slam bam wham. Oh, it's John Rocha.
Woo!
Did someone say a belt?
There's the belt.
That's right. The tag team belt, always within reaching distance for me here in the office. Thank you all so much for having me on the Call to Action channel. Who knew months ago that this would ever be possible? I wanted this channel burnt to the ground just a short few months ago, and now I am honored and blessed to be on the channel with you all, having fun tonight, debating with my old friend and nemesis, William the Beast Bibbiani. Growl. So it's great to see you, Kelsey, and it's great to see you, Alex. Alex, please try to stay sober. And we're going to have ourselves. I mean, someone's got to read these numbers correctly from the fans who are voting. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just like any other Schmoedown match. I'm super nervous. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know who's going to be standing at the end. But I hope to at least equip myself well on here, because certainly Bibbs is an intelligent guy, very well reasoned in his defenses of terrible films. So I have my work cut out for me, even trying to defeat this man. So
I love how polite John is right now. He's like a camouflaged snake, just coiling up like in the corner, like ready to strike. I respect you.
It's already started. The arguing has already started before the timer has started.
I'd like to point out who started the argument. I'd like to point out who started the arguing, and that would be one
argument. I respect the hell out of you.
Once again,
I'm very thrilled to be talking to you. I love that you have your belt. It's on brand. If I had a belt right now, I would be on camera. What I do have is a replica of Evil Bong. That is up there from the Full Moon.
Arguably much more
replica of Evil Bong. Charles Band gave it.
Yeah.
That's what I have instead of accolades and prizes.
Well, you know what, everyone, I see a bunch of really cool stuff going on in the background for you guys, but you know what, we can talk about, I think that's a Gundam in the background, or I can see 1,000,001 awesome DVDs over there as well. We can do that all day. However, we're here to really focus on some really awesome and interesting debates, if I do say so myself. So I just want to let you guys know what we're doing here today. If you're new to Schmoebates, thank you so much for dropping in to watch these people argue. How we're going to go about this is that we argue Schmoedown's biggest questions, such as what is the best match in belt history, belt match in history, all the way to who would be the best competitor to go up against in a Schmoedown themed food fight. We get really weird up here in Schmoebates. So it's really all that in a bag of chips, I have to say. Now, how we kind of go about the format as well. We do have an opening statement for 60 seconds for each of these fine competitors, following by open remarks where they really debate openly as well, like I said, as well as a closing statement to really finalize their arguments and try to turn you to vote in their favor. Now, that being said, if you're here to be like, Rocha's the best, awesome. If you're here to say Bibbs is the best, awesome. However, you cannot vote for people based on who your favorite competitor is. You have to vote based on their arguments alone. Please be impartial. I know it's very hard. But
please, Outlaw Nation, be impartial.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
We don't actually have fans, so if you're one of the 3 people who like us over critically acclaimed, you're really not gonna tilt it either way. I guess do whatever you want. I don't know.
You've got a good Patreon. Don't say that. You've got
thank you. Right? The Patreon is we've had a lot of support lately because of everything being horrible, and we are great.
As a patron of that Patreon, I do say so myself. It is a fun time over there.
Already a little Fox in the Hen House. Okay, all right.
Hey, you know what? I'm a Patreon of top 10. I have so.
Okay.
Oh,
just saying.
Oh, little hen in the Fox house.
Wait, who do you donate to more? All right, we'll figure that out later.
Here for both of you guys. There's a lot of Patreons going around, man. We all support each other. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and dive into it. Kelsey, will you do the honor of not only being amazing with that timer, but please read our first question?
I would be happy to. What is the most heel move in Schmoedown?
Now, this is a really big question indeed. Now, we're going to be starting with John Rocha for your opening statement. You do have 60 seconds on the clock to make your arguments, starting right now.
All right, well, the argument is really moot to me because there's only one answer. And the number one answer is Andrew Ghai beating Dan Murrell at Schmoedown Spectacular. No one saw that coming, and it changed the trajectory of the game and so many storylines just for that one victory. He TKO'd Dan, which no one had ever done. Then he gave him a double finger salute and thrust his penis into Dan's face in one of the most unsettling displays of victory I've ever seen this side of Ben Bateman celebrating between rounds before a match is even over. It was one of the most insane things I've ever seen before. And finally, it was the last piece of the puzzle to establish Andrew Ghai as a legitimate heel. If he can beat the GOAT, then anyone is game. If he can be that pretty, that good at it, and denigrate people and destroy people with his mouth, and also beat people in the ring, that is one of the most greatest heel moves ever. How do you send the GOAT down into an embarrassing loss in such a classy fashion?
That's
the heel move. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Yes. Like I mentioned, you can use a full time, you can use halftime, whatever you want to do. So yeah, I'm loving that pick as, being part of Call to Action. Absolutely. But we're going to attempt to be unbiased here. All right, Bibbs, who or what is the most heel move in Schmoedown to you? Please make your arguments.
Rocha is right. There is only one correct answer, but the correct answer is Ken Knapsack betraying Rachel Cushing. When Ghai did that thing, he was already a heel, and he just happened to win a game and be rude about it. Ken Knapsack went from a face to a heel. He betrayed one of the most beloved people in the entire Schmoedown, and he actually affected the game. Not just because they won on a fair game, but he actually screwed her over, and she's the only person ever to have to play a teams match solo. which actually hurt her stats. Like she's one of the greatest players of all time. This heel move negatively affected her career. It absolutely broke up one of the most popular teams that we had at the time, and it solidified the Lions Den as the toughest, baddest, meanest team ever. When Ken came in not to say hi to Rachel, but to celebrate with her enemies, that's the greatest heel move ever.
And time.
Okay.
This is a very personal decision, but you guys are both wrong. The actual most heel move in Schmoedown was when Makuga read the belt between his legs.
That was a heel move, but you can't even tell if Makuga's a heel or not half the time. So I agree. That is a damn heel move.
Agreed. It was a heel move. I don't think it was the most.
Okay, now
so now what? Well,
I do see actually a lot of people are always saying, I already made up my mind. Both are making some excellent points, which these guys did. But don't make your assumptions on who you think has won already for the first argument. You guys have to have 4 minutes to go into your open remarks starting right now.
Okay, I don't think you can say that the most heel move, not necessarily the biggest heel move, but the most heel move is simply a heel winning a game and being rude about it. That's something that can just happen at any time. That is the emotion. That is the competition getting swept away. Ken betraying Rachel is the whole narrative.
I also don't think you can say that's a most heel move when everyone was helping him make that move. That wasn't Ken by himself. That was the announcers screaming at the top of their lungs, pushing it forward. That was everyone else getting involved. So how can it be a most heel move if everyone else was helping Ken do it? And then he got embarrassed by Christian in the back and forth. So he grew in size at the beginning and then slowly got diminished as this whole thing went along. Whereas Andrew Ghai started out small and got bigger. And that's what happened here.
Was the most
heel move was him destroying Dan in such an uncomfortably embarrassing fashion and disrespectful fashion, and then establishing himself in that way.
Anyone could have destroyed Dan. Like it
was an authentic
on any given day to beat anybody. It
wasn't even.
Dan. That's hard.
Here's the difference. It wasn't scripted. The heel move wasn't scripted.
It's the Schmoedown.
Andrew Ghai's heel was organic and real and pure. He was even more better than something scripted. He didn't have words fed to him. He did it right off the bat and went at him.
It doesn't say the most impressive unscripted heel move. That's just competition. I'm sorry. Ghai being rude to someone is no different when it's Dan Murrell or anyone else.
Somebody showing up late to a match is not a heel move.
Dan Murrell has
been showing up late to a match.
Other people who are also jerks. No one has
someone going with an entire faction is not a heel move.
Supposed to play.
Just want to give you guys a pause for a minute. Give you guys a pause for a minute. Kelsey, can you pause for a hot second? Okay, so you guys are making some excellent points so far.
All right.
I do want to start ask you Rocha and Bibbs. I do kind of want you guys kind of start going in back and forth a little bit, just because I can hear both of you guys making excellent points, but I want to focus on one more than the other. Okay, starting with you, Rocha, just a little bit. I'll give you like a solid 45 seconds apiece, and we can kind of go to you, Bibbs, as well. Okay. Can you kind of talk about a little bit specifically what it did to the fan reaction, but also please kind of do that as well. Like, what was the impact to Schmoedown as a whole? How it impacted the individual fandoms towards Rachel? How it impacted their careers?
Look, walking away from somebody is not a heel move. Actually walking out there and beating somebody that is a fan favorite, more beloved than Rachel was at that time. Bibbiani's doing revisionist history. Rachel had fought 3 matches. She wasn't as beloved as Dan. Andrew came in there and destroyed a legend, an icon, the GOAT for all, and then spat on his grave and even took his pants off and pissed on it. It was the most disgusting display I've ever seen, and it was a massive heel move. Fine, figuratively, it was a massive heel move by Andrew Ghai and left Dan, and it also jettisoned Dan into a new stratosphere. So in that way, it changed the entire game and it established Andrew Ghai once and for all as one of the top heels ever. Just walking away from a faction because you're whining because you can't win, which is what that cutscene was with him and Rachel. We can't beat the Patriots. We can't beat the Patriots. A baby is not a heel. A man is a heel. Andrew Ghai was a man when he beat Dan.
Okay. Over to you, Vince.
Walking away from somebody is not a heel move is your counter argument here. Ken didn't walk.
Well, there was more than that, but okay.
He never showed up. He abandoned somebody. He told somebody he was going to be there, and he betrayed them. Lots of people have left their partners in the Schmoedown. Hello, you and me. But that is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about someone who absolutely stranded their partner in a situation that is completely unprecedented. Other people have played Dan Murrell. Other people have
She still almost won.
That is not unprecedented. Unprecedented is going one against an entire team. And yeah, she lost. She came close, which is really impressive. But this changed her. This absolutely, this sent her in a position to team up with the Shar Wolves and completely change the league for the better in the long run. Whereas, I'm sorry, Dan coming back and winning more matches doesn't change a damn thing. That is status quo.
You're an insane person. You're an insane person.
Ghai is still punching. Listen, if you had said Ghai pushing Ben through a table, I would say, yeah, maybe that's a good one, because we all remember about a year later, Ben had a bad back. I blame Andrew Ghai. That would have been a legit evil Ghai move. For me, the ultimate Ghai move is betrayal.
And time.
Speaking of which, I betray you.
Also scripted, by the way. Also scripted. But anyway, yes, go ahead.
Well, that line was ad-lib.
It was. Credit to
I have so many feelings. I really do have so many feelings about this. Well, we have two very huge moments, within Schmoedown. I remember when when that moment cried, when Knapsack left Rachel, and Rachel's not super comfortable, wasn't super comfortable on camera. She's not an actress and everything. So when that happened, I remember it feeling that much more real as a result, but also with Ghai, the energy and everything that happened after it. I mean, the pelvic sorcery that came from that, scene is, really quite magical. Okay. So, going over the chat just real quickly, we do have, we do have a lot of people saying that, they love the arguments. Beast is speaking the truth. Suji, God, this is great. Jake Yakavetta, holy shit, the credit Rocha is giving Ghai is some Inception shit. Yeah, but there's a lot of opinions up in here, and thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Now, for your closing statement, Kelsey, they're both making some fine-ass arguments. What would they have to say in order to make them convert you?
Yeah, right now I am very torn because I felt so emotional with the whole Rachel situation. And then, watching that whole thing with Ghai was just like a really fist pump moment. I don't know. I just want to hear more details on, I guess, kind of like maybe how it's like changed the game further and how heel moves are from here going on out. Because I feel like they really both did change the face of what it is to be a heel in the Schmoedown. So,
absolutely. For sure. Well, is there any counterpoints you would really need either one of them to really make note of in their closing statements you really want them to hear? Say?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Well, is there, I know something I really want you guys kind of go into is that you both made your points about what it did to the fandom and everything. What I would really love for both of you guys to mention your counter statement is Bibbs, I want you to talk about why his reaction to Ghai TKO Murrell and how that happened. I want you to kind of talk about how it doesn't matter, which I feel like is impossible. But also, how it's not that much of a heel move at all. People don't really refer to it as like one of the greatest moments in Schmoedown history. But also same for you, Rocha. I kind of want you to talk about how people don't really refer to one of that scene, to that whole situation, to be like one of the greatest moments in Schmoedown as well. So I kind of want you guys kind of balance it out a little bit as well.
Do you mean the move? First of all, tell Dean Morgan I ain't lying about shit, and he needs to tell me what the hell he thinks I'm lying about, because you need to go back and watch that map, which I just watched. Ken was absolutely crying to Rachel that he couldn't beat the Patriots. They couldn't beat the Patriots and then showed up. That's what actually happened, Dean. Maybe you should stop getting drunk when you watch matches and forgetting things and blacking out. That's what happened. What do you want us to say? I'm not going to, because I think Bibbs' choice is the second best heel move. My choice is the first best heel move. Are you trying to say that I need to say why it's not a heel move?
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Just kind of dive into that a little bit more.
Who's going first?
Who goes first?
Okay, we're gonna stick into it like I mentioned earlier. We're gonna have Rocha give his closing statement first.
Oh, okay. Well, Dean Morgan said I lied about what Ghai did. Oh, yes, he didn't piss on him. Yes, he didn't piss on his grave. You know why? Because Dan didn't actually die, you moron. What he did, though, because I was there and you were not, Dean, he actually thrust his penis into Dan's face a couple times, pissed Dan off. He double-fingered saluted Dan. You don't see that in the cut because Christian had to take that out at the time for the kids, but that's what he actually did. That was the heel move there. It solidified Andrew Ghai once and for all as one of the top heels ever. And you know what a heel does? A heel keeps going and consistently wins. Has anyone seen Ken Napzok? I'm still looking for Ken Napzok. It can't be a heel move. It was a one-off and nobody even cares about you anymore. And you did nothing with it but fade into obscurity, become a manager or get lost in a group, an ensemble group. Andrew Ghai established himself as a heel for the rest of time in the Schmoedown. When people talk about the best heels ever, it's my name and Andrew Ghai's name and then Kalinowski's name and then Ben somewhere in the background as well. But there's a reason for that. It's because what Andrew Ghai did was incredible. Ken Napzok crying like a baby before he walked out there, then having the fans come out, and then having Christian embarrass him in the post-match Schmoedown. That's not a heel move.
Your closing statement.
This is a deleted scene. Rocha picked something that wasn't in the match. That should automatically disqualify from the argument to begin with. But let's
another complaint.
Let's leave it as is. Let's
just do a championship match with all first round questions.
Here's why it didn't change the game. Okay, Rocha beat Ghai. Ghai's ascension stopped, and he never went for any further. He was avenged. Dan went on to be the same Dan Murrell we all know and love. Whereas, Ken was a whiny baby of a villain. A lot of the great villains are whiny babies. Darth Vader was a whiny baby in the prequels.
What?
Darth Vader. Here's the problem with your argument. Rachel took that opportunity and ascended to greater heights than anyone ever had before. You're right. She was relatively new. She got stronger
than anyone had before. Dan had already done everything
than ever out of this. She became a legend in the Schmoedown. Dan was already a legend in the Schmoedown who had one bad game, and Ghai was rude about winning. That's it. That's the end of it. Was it a great moment? Sure. Was it a great underdog match? Hell yeah. Was it the greatest heel move? No, it's like top 10 at most. And I yield the rest of my time.
Okay, I'll take those 10 seconds on your own website. On the article that you edited, the Andrew Ghai thing was at the top.
Talk over this until someone.
Children.
Wait a minute. You need to clarify, because when he says he yields time, don't I get to take that time?
No.
You need to go to Congress. That's what that means.
We're not in Congress.
I've never heard that before, but
you know what? I'm Maxine Waters. I'm reclaiming my time. All right,
I'm trying to reclaim.
Okay.
And I'll reclaim the time and give it to them.
You guys have both made some fantastic arguments. Thank you so much. Now, there's a lot of people here with some opinions, and a lot of people are just talking about, Vader absolutely was a whiny baby.
Thank you.
That's convenient.
Okay, so like I mentioned, if you have decided right now that you're like, hey, I want to vote in favor of Rocha, I want to vote in favor of Bibbs, go vote right now on our Twitter page. We have our votes and everything ready to go. Make your votes known, make your opinions known, because you're not going to be able, if you vote tomorrow, it's not going to matter. If you're going to vote in 3 hours, it is still not going to matter, because you only until like 5 or 10 minutes after we conclude all of our arguments to really determine who wins these arguments and who walks away a victor. Okay. Okay, before we kind of jump into our second question, which was a very fun question too.
This is fun. I love this.
Yeah. Well, you guys got your first argument out of the way, and I know you guys are starting to kind of debating.
We've had arguments before.
Starting with you, Bibbs. Like, how do you kind of feel about doing this with Rocha of all people? With these like fun Schmoedown stuff.
I'm going to say this right now, and I don't think I get to say this enough. I love Rocha, and I love that we can argue about this kind of stuff and get super passionate about it, and we can walk away at the end and respect each other. I really love that. So this is a lot of fun, and I'd still like to win, but I'll also understand if he does.
Well, I mean, they're both, I can honestly say going both ways. And what about you, Rocha? How do you feel about going against Bibbs? obviously a longtime competitor that a rival you've been going against in Schmoedown, but how do you feel about actually doing it on camera, arguing?
Listen, no one brings out the best in me like Bibbs does. No one challenges me to bring it like Bibbs does. And he's, as I've said on whatever my issues are with his heel face stuff that he does all the time, walking that line between both and having feet in both camps. I always give him credit for his abilities as a movie reviewer, as an analytical man talking about films. He's one of the best guys out there this side of Drew McWeeny. So going up against him in a debate is not easy. He's sharp, he's quick, and he knows how to pick certain things, and he'll manipulate arguments in a certain direction. For example, he chose the prequels rather than Darth Vader killing motherfuckers in Rogue One. So give him props for what he does. But but I love it, and I think it's fun, and I'm having a good time. And Dean Morgan can suck it. Basically, Dean Morgan can suck it hard. There you go.
I can definitely turn off your viewing access to this if it's community. There's a lot of comments and everything. More also, Paul even says, "Stay in character until you're backstage." Ken is totally a heel of Fairs, but also there's a lot of love for each competitor. Bibbs, 2020 could be your year.
Yes, when we don't have any matches. Yes, 2020
could be. I don't know.
I know. But there's a lot of love, for both you guys in here. So again, go vote right now and make your opinions heard. So we're gonna be going into our second question here in a second, and I'm gonna pull it up, and we're gonna be starting with Bibbs to make your opening statement first. Go ahead and have that water. You have 60 seconds to provide your statement.
My Voltron cup.
Oh, Kelsey, will you do the honors?
Sure
Voltron's
can.
a great one. Mm-hmm.
Question number 2. What is the best attribute for a manager to have, and what manager best embodies that attribute?
All right, starting right now.
Okay. The best attribute that a manager can have, and I'm saying this as someone who has done this with experience, is theatricality. Not just big, flamboyant, talking big, but an understanding of what it takes to put on the show. Sometimes that means talking big. Sometimes that means dressing up. Sometimes that means just focusing on the game and giving your players exactly what you need. You are managing not just the players, but the situations and the show. And there is no manager, and I think it's unfair to include a lot of the newer managers here because they only just got started and the season's been cut pretty short all the way. But when you look at the managers who have experience, when you look at the managers who have had an opportunity to prove themselves, there is no manager who has done better than Tom Dag Nino. He knows how to build a story, he knows how to build drama, and he knows how to put together a winning faction and support that faction within an inch of its life. Tom Dag Nino is the face of the heels, and now he's becoming a face of the faces with his new faction.
Time.
The face of the faces of the heels of the faces. Feels like if that's not kayfabe inception, I don't know what is. All right, awesome pick. I cannot wait. It's like you're in support of Rocha's manager, so that's going to be pretty interesting to kind of hear you kind of go against that. Rocha, what attribute did you pick?
All right, so I'll tell you the one attribute that I know well is that you have to, as a manager, you have to get everybody on the same page, going in the same direction, on board, study with them, get everybody involved in study groups, and put it all together. I've seen no manager better at doing that than Emma Fyffe. The Fyffe Club is a faction to be admired, respected, and revered, and for people to aspire to who are coming in creating new factions. Before the Fyffe Club, faction members didn't get together and study on the weekends and take those buzzers home and drill each other with those buzzers and the questions and what have you. They did incredible work all coming together, and it led to what Bibbiani loves to slobber all over, which was the Shire Wolves winning a tag team title and supposedly changing the game for the better. All this kind of stuff that happened because of the Fyffe Club, and Emma had an incredible job taking all these disparate talents and intelligently knowledgeable people, putting them all together, getting them going in the same direction, and it led to belts, and it led to the best records for all those players who were involved.
Okay.
Everyone in the chat thought you were legit going Roxy for like good minute.
Roxy hasn't won much.
Yeah.
Fyffe has won stuff.
Well, just I care. I mean, all these, like, there's so many options for wonderful managers, obviously, current, new managers, and former managers, obviously. But yeah, these are two of some of the most iconic managers Schmoedown has ever seen. Okay. Well, you guys have 4 minutes to make your arguments. Gucci with theatricality, that whole thing with, working with his team and knowing what his team needs, but also with Emma Fife. And I like the core words I put down is pretty much team philosophy. Is that okay? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm-hmm. Starting now. We got 4 minutes.
Rocha put it this way. He said the most important thing is trust. Trust sounds real nice. Let me explain why trust is overrated. Tom Dagnino has put together a faction of champions, a faction of big personalities who we saw earlier this year fighting each other within an inch of their lives over things that honestly shouldn't have even mattered that much. Huge egos, huge talents, huge personalities clashing with each other. Is there a lot of trust there? No. People were fighting over who didn't want Tom to be their manager in that match. But you know what Tom did? Tom inspired these people to be passionate about the game, not to get complacent, to keep not just their eye on the prize, but to keep them in the limelight at a time where there weren't a lot of narratives and storylines going on in the Schmoedown. Rocha's faction has remained the most prominent faction, not just because they're winning matches. They are, and I think we can all say that Tom Dagnino is a big part of that, but also because Tom is keeping them at the forefront of the game. Every other faction right now, and yeah, the season's been cut short a bit, but every other faction right now is gunning for second. And you know who isn't gunning for second right now? Emma Fife, because she left. She had people who were looking to trust her.
All right. That's enough. That's enough of your nonsense. That's enough of your nonsense. Let's jump in here and tell you the truth about this situation. Finstock was lucky to have us all on the faction, and we do the job. We carry that team, not Finstock. Finstock just shows up in whatever clothes he's got for the day and does his thing, steps in front of us and walks down in front of the camera and he messes up. He messes things up. But Emma Fife does theatricality even better than Finstock.
Have you seen his little better shorts?
Than Finstock, and she gets people on top of their game. She gets them focused.
You're saying
and
that you're not on top of your game right now.
Wouldn't have had communication issues in the draft. She wouldn't have had communications in the draft. She wouldn't have selected me fourth. We would have had talked all that philosophy out. The reason Finstock, what you're crowing about, was so amazing in this situation, he actually got bailed out by everybody else on the team, having our own
teamwork.
separate text
You
messages,
just said it
clarifying
right there.
No, he was nowhere together. Called out all the time.
In a position to excel, not to get complacent.
But Emma Fife never had any of those communication issues. Emma Fife was always on top of her team, always communicating with her team, always inspiring her team, supporting her team. She took time out of her day, extra hours. I haven't seen Finstock other than matches. Emma Fife goes
and who benefited from that
and gets them all squared away. I take care of myself. Emma Fife got them to that pinnacle, got them to that mountain.
What did she get Mark and Drake to? She put together a winning team. The Star Wolves are a huge winning team. You know, put together a whole giant faction full of
put them all together, got them squared away, and got them going in the same thing. Dagnino just shows up for the paycheck. Fife actually manages her team. That's the difference. That's the difference.
Let's just kind of go one at a time again. Let's go ahead and focus on Bibbs for a bit. Just for a bit. Go ahead, Bibbs. Do your thing.
I thought I made my point perfectly. Listen, just because there is infighting in the faction doesn't mean that that faction isn't strong. And I would argue that the sense of competition that is stemming from not getting enough attention from Tom Dagnino is the kind of thing that directors do in storylines, in movies all the time in order to get the best performances out of their team. I would argue that John Rocha is as good, if not better, than he has ever been under Tom Dagnino. He's better than he's ever been right now.
But I'll tell you, as the person who's in that relationship,
and even if you see that as a coincidence, he passed his faction. He got the right people. And if you're saying you're doing all the work, that means he picked the right people for his faction. That is an important thing for a manager to do.
Okay, let's go ahead and focus on Rocha. Kelsey, I want to give Rocha an extra 30 seconds. Okay?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. You can say that, but you've never been managed by Finstock, so you have no idea what you're talking about. Me being in here in this situation, I have not been. You have not been managed by Finstock in this situation. I was managed by Finstock, and I can tell you this right now: the man does not know necessarily how to manage as well as Emma Fife does. Emma Fife takes care of her people, gets them in the right frame of mind, trains them up so everybody is focused and knows the answers to the questions, knows how to challenge, gets all everybody on board, and that's important. You got everybody to buy into the philosophy of being great, and then you train everybody up so they are at the top of their game by the time they walk through that curtain. Finstock has never done that for us. He just relies on us doing our own training, and then he just shows up there to walk us out. Boom.
Okay. You want to do some yoga poses, guys?
Okay, what's a?
I'll do my downward dog right there.
Vogue.
Awesome. We're gonna be done in an hour at this rate.
Yeah, it's a lot of things were said. Those were two real. You guys made a lot of really, really solid points. I mean, but also, I mean, like you said, Rocha, at the end of the day, you are one that is being managed by one of the most iconic, by arguably the most iconic manager Schmoedown has ever seen. But also Bibbs, you've mentioned Fife. She wasn't on for very long, you know, technically as a manager. However, when she did manage, she did did so much, obviously, for her teams and really kind of honing in. Sorry, the other way around. Yes, Rocha said that, and also Gucci, you said that as well. But Gucci in particular, he's worked with a whole bunch of competitors, you know, a lot of different personalities, a lot of different, you know, levels of talent, you know, different, you know, groups of people. So really helping each of the competitors, like you said, Bibbs, like stay focused. Like you said, stay focused and help keep the egos in check and everything is definitely stuff, especially with a team of champions. It can definitely be difficult to kind of rein them in, like you said. But at the end of the day, you know, kind of keep everyone in check as well. But also, Five Club.
Guys, this is a debate. I want to make sure in the chat, this is a debate, guys.
Well,
like
I mean,
movie fights. I want to make sure that's clear. Like movie fights. So
let's say, I do want to point out, Rocha, like you said earlier, let's say, Rocha, like you said, you're the one here that is currently being managed by Gucci. Bibbs has never been managed by Gucci. So everything Bibbs is saying, he's like taking it as someone from the outside looking in. You're looking from the inside out. So these are two very different perspectives off of the same manager. Just kind of going into the chat, you know, what's a face?
Yeah.
Thanks, Danny.
You know, there's a lot of love, you know, from the chat, you know, regarding, you know, Finstock Exchange, a lot of love for Nerd Chronic since it was his birthday yesterday. So happy birthday. And happy birthday, Eric again. A lot of love for Dagnino here, you know, Dagnino for Manager of the Year. Come on, man. Come on. Where's the love for all these people? It's like, remember, also remember when Emma got locked in the closet by Finstock? I mean, come on. Let's be honest here.
She wasn't a manager yet, though.
Yeah, not when that happened. She was a commentator.
Yep.
True. That's true. That's
not
very
true. But to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Rocha is playing and Bibbs is spitting fire. Okay.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to spit so much.
You know what? Let's say we're going to be going into our closing statements.
Yes.
I mean, there's so much you can really kind of dive into. Now, again, no interjecting in the closing statements.
Yep.
We're going to be starting with Bibbs for your closing statement. You do have 60 seconds to. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. Sorry, I was remembering the scheduling right. No, it's fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have 60 seconds to make your closing statement.
Okay.
And starting right now.
Rocha's saying that I don't see what's going on because I'm not in the faction, but you know what I do see? Winning. I see Rocha having his first title defense in history under Tom Dagnino's careful management. I see you being successful, and I don't think that's a coincidence. Emma is a great manager. I'm not arguing that. She's an important manager. I'm not arguing that. But I think that the things that make Emma a great manager was also the theatricality. Emma didn't just train her team. You know what she did? She put it online. She made people see that she was training the team. That created this myth of the Fife Club and the Shire Wolves as the ideal faction. And that was not based on trust. That was based on putting on a show. Tom Dagnino puts on an even better show. What? We've seen it. He locked them in a closet in order to steal the limelight for his own faction. He successfully stole the entire show for an entire huge event. He is casting the right people in his faction, and he is trusting them to do their job. If that means him staying out of the way, that's what he does. He's the best.
And time.
Spitting fire indeed. All right, Rocha, you two have 60 seconds to make your closing statement. Starting.
All right, well, look, you got it.
Kelsey, you ready?
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
And look, you got to balance everything out when you look at that thing. Who's great on the mic? Finstock is great on the mic. You know who else is great on the mic? Emma Fyffe. Emma Fyffe is fantastic on the mic as well, interviewing people and dropping promos. You know who else is great doing those cutscenes? Emma Fyffe. Finstock as well. You know who else is great managing? Not Finstock. Certainly Emma Fyffe. Absolutely. Emma Fyffe takes care of business when she needs to. It wasn't a myth. That was real. I saw those title defenses from the Shire Wolves. That was real. That was no myth. She got them to that position. She got them to the position when people talking about the Shire Wolves over the Patriots. That's Emma Fyffe working with that team, getting them in a cohesive unit, and having her other faction members train them as well to get them all knowledgeable about everything and about all the slices, all the knowledge, talking strategy, getting everything involved. That was incredible. Dagnita was handed these champions, but Emma Fyffe built champions. There's a difference. And when you build a champion through trust, through communication, and through a shared philosophy, then you get great results. Emma Fyffe did that. That's why she's the best.
And time.
Who's looking forward to backstage this week?
I gotta know. Okay, I gotta know. We're done with this question here, but I gotta know at the end of the day, if Rocha, if you could pick a new manager right now, past or present, who would you choose? Or would
I'm
you
not telling you that. I'm not telling you that, Alex Beck. You don't get the scoop.
What? I don't know what
You don't get the
We've
scoop.
already
Alex
had
Beck.
him on chill, Alex.
Fine. No, I'm just
Joking
curious.
around.
How many viewers do we have? How many viewers do we have?
95 currently.
I'm gonna need to get over 200 before I give you that scoop. So let's get to 200.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Everybody
Give it to us.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't have to. I'm just saying. Okay. Okay. Like I said, I included the past, so you could say go in a lot of directions. What about you, Bibbs?
Well, the question is if I could have any manager, past, present, or future. Rocha.
Oh.
Ooh.
I
I
would
think
love
Rocha
to
has
manage
the potential to be the absolute best manager we've ever had because he's got those theatrics down. He builds trust. He really cares about the game. I would trust him to be in my corner if we were back in a faction now. That earlier we were still figuring out what the hell a faction was. Now he would be the best person to have in your corner, and he knows the game inside and out. He's lost so many bullshit challenges so many times. He will fight that. He will fight for us, and he will call it out every single time. And I think the two of us together now would be totally awesome. But I will say this again. I didn't include in this conversation any manager who just got started this year. It's not fair. The new ones, no one had more than 3 matches so far. So I love Koi. I'm happy with Koi. I think Koi has a lot of potential here, but he just doesn't have the record to argue. So
No, absolutely.
It's a fun
For sure.
conversation.
Also, Drew wants to throw her hat in the ring. Video Drew for best manager.
Drew wants to do anything that'll put her on camera. Drew will do anything that'll put her on camera. She knows it. She loves it.
she's wonderful.
I love
She's
Drew.
wonderful, yes. And I'm sorry, Dean Morgan. I am not trying to make him rage. I just like seeing people argue to the death, to the blood, all things Schmoedown every single Wednesday at 9:30 Central. What's up? All right. So, again, and now I know a lot of people are asking in the chat specifically, where can I vote? I decided I want to go with this person. You can vote on Twitter right now, or you can wait towards the end of all 3 arguments. Totally fine. Up to you. Whatever is easier for you. Okay. So we're going to be going to our third and final question, and my favorite question. I love this question. Okay. Now for a third and final question, we're going to be starting with, before we start into our opening statements, we're going to be tossing this coin. Now, if you're not familiar with what this magical golden coin is, Luke's and I, we are patrons of the action industries with Andrew Ghai and Ben Bateman and all the wonderful, awesome stuff that they do. And so we have this magical coin. And so Team Ghai and Team Bateman, right hither. Whammy. So definitely go check them out. It's all down a bag of chips. Really cool stuff here. Now, So I just want to let you guys know, prior to recording, we decided that Rocha is going to be flipping for Bateman right there. Team Trader right there. And also Bibbs obviously went with the superior Team Ghai. Now, whoever lands face up will decide.
Wait a minute, Alex. Ghai is also a face, so they're both traders, by the way. So flip it. They both traders.
I will kick you off. No. All right. So, like I mentioned, whoever gets face up, they will decide if they want to go opening. They want to go first or second for their opening statement. All right. Whoop. I'm horrible at flipping. I'm sorry. It's a big coin. The answer is Team Ghai.
Nice.
All right, Bibbs.
I'll go first if you don't mind.
Want to go first? Okay. Kelsey, please do the honor in reading our third and final question.
Will do. Question 3. What Schmoedown personality is most likely to be big in Japan?
You can go in a lot of directions with this question. I'm not going to lie. Lucas actually came up with this question, and he was so proud. He's like, big in Japan. And I was like, it's a fun time. All right. You can go in a lot of different directions with this one, but Bibbs, which direction did you decide to go with? Please let us know.
For this particular question, I think it's important to define the parameters. What does it mean to be big in Japan? And the saying is used to describe people who tend to be unappreciated in their hometown or their home country and are appreciated by another group of people elsewhere, perhaps more justifiably because they're very talented. There's a lot of talented people in the Schmoedown, but there's no one who I think gets... Brienne Chandler deserves way more respect than she has ever gotten in this league. That's my argument here. I think she should have all the fans. I think she should be part of the Hall of Fame discussion. There's only 3 people who've ever won a free-for-all: Brienne Chandler, Sam Levine, Dan Murrell. She's got the chop. She's very talented. She raised the game for theatricality. She raised the game for the entrances. She was integral to setting up the Patreon in the first place. She has contributed infinitely to the Schmoedown, and for whatever reason, when we talk about the greatest people who played the game, we do not discuss her. Why? Because she never technically won a belt, and that's why she'd be big in Japan, somewhere else where they would appreciate her for everything she's done.
In time.
Oh, great choice. Absolutely underappreciated indeed. I love her so much. One of my favorite competitors. I wish she would come back. Who knows in the future? All right, Rocha, who did you choose for most in Japan?
Well, I chose Paul Oyama, former singles champion, and I'm going to actually answer the question rather than stand for a friend of mine. I'm going to tell you the actual answer to this question, and that is, and you can start the clock whenever you want, Kelsey. This whole thing is that Paul Oyama is Japanese himself by descent. He is a big fan of Japanese movies. He wears those sunglasses, wears that kick-ass jacket when he walks into the ring. He exudes calm, cool, and driven like the Tokyo Drifter. If you ever watch that movie, he's a hitman. He's an assassin taking care of business. It is, correct, Bibbs. And he is fantastic as that, which is why I think he'd be great in Japan as well. He's also young, and the Japanese people love the young kids they can glom onto early and watch them grow. And you see it all the time at NJPW, in that conference, in that Federation of Wrestling. You see what Japanese characters can do and how big they get over. Paul Oyama would understand how to get big in that country. He'd be huge, and he would be a good first step towards us establishing a Schmoedown branch in that country of Japan. Paul Oyama would be the ambassador to do it all. He's intelligent, well-spoken, smart, brilliant, and he wins titles.
In time.
Two very different approaches to this question and 2 very different answers.
Yes.
I'm excited to see you guys argue. Okay. I don't know, Kelsey, let's be honest. If anything, you would probably be the biggest, big in Japan. Absolutely. I could totally see you like a rock star over.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want to go to Japan one day? Do you want to go hang out in Osaka or Tokyo or something one day?
Absolutely. Can you get that hooked up for me? Because that'd be great. Maybe not right now, but eventually I'd love to go for sure.
It would be really awesome to go sit down and have some awesome seafood with both Oyama and Brienne Chandler. So I can definitely see them both being huge in Japan. All right. You guys got 4 minutes to make your argument. Kelsey, my love, please give the timer. And you guys got it going. Starting
Okay,
right
Rocco brought up Tokyo Drifter, which, by the way, awesome movie. Great shout out. If anyone sees that, because we brought it up here today, I think it's on the Criterion channel right now. Check it out. Please do. I'm going to bring up another movie, Anvil, The Story of Anvil, one of the greatest rock documentaries of all time, about a group of people who are unappreciated in America, but overseas, they are gods. That is what I'm talking about when I talk about big in Japan. And I was concerned about this question because there's a couple of different ways to take this. And I am taking it from the perspective of musical groups who are big overseas but are underappreciated in their home country. So for the record, Brianne Chandler is unappreciated, or at least underappreciated here in America. Paul Oyama won a belt. He had one of the greatest rookie seasons in all of history. He's popular here. Of course he'd be popular anywhere else because he's popular here. Is he the most popular Schmoedown player ever? No, because that's just Dan Murrell and Rachel. Like, that's it. Everyone else is gunning for like third. So
how
that
dare you?
Right there, it's not much of a boast. You could just say that Dan Murrell would be big in Japan, or that Rachel Cushing would be big in Japan, or that anyone who is really good at the game and has done really, really well at the game would be really big in Japan. Rocha would be big in Japan just based on...
That was like 2 seconds of my argument, but okay, yeah.
Rocha would be big in Japan just based on his bigness. He's great. Everyone loves Rocha.
How dare you?
But not everybody appreciates Brianne Chandler, which is why I think that you'd have to go to a community, like a different kind of Facebook community, to people who would see what she has contributed to the game, okay? Before Brianne Chandler popularized theatrical entrances, enormous, like, detailed cosplay, she was the first female heel we ever had. She was enormously instrumental to setting up the monetization that has kept the Schmoedown going in the first place. And for whatever reason, we do not talk about her when we talk about Hall of Famers. I understand Mount Rushmore is reserved for people who have the best records in Schmoedown history. Brianne has a pretty good record, but her contributions go way beyond that. And I think she's underappreciated here, and she should be appreciated wherever she goes.
All right, that's a fair. I don't disagree that Brianne doesn't get 100% of the credit that she deserves, but I also think if you don't get that credit, it's because the fans don't necessarily gravitate to you. And I would argue with you that we are I'll let you talk for 2 minutes. We are a global league, and being a global league, I don't see a strong fan base for her in Japan, but I have seen a strong fan base for Paul Oyama in Japan already from some of the fans who've communicated to me on the Outlaw Nation how much they enjoy Paul Oyama and what he's done in the league. And yeah, somebody said there, oh, it's a lazy choice. Your wife says it's a lazy choice. I'm sorry your wife feels that way, but it's the right choice. It's 100% the right choice. Paul Oyama respects and reveres the Japanese culture. That's what you want. You want a guy who's going to walk in there and immediately be respected by the culture, by the people there, by the citizens there, and he's going to be huge. And not everybody who goes overseas becomes big. You're taking a massive chance that this theatricality of entrance might actually work. Maybe they don't like her theatricality of entrance. Maybe they don't enjoy her cosplay. Maybe they don't enjoy the things that she's creating. That's certainly possible. With Paul Oyama, though, it's already built in. And that's why he would be big. He would
but here's the problem. You're looking at
stomping like Godzilla. And Japanese people love a winner. They love a winner.
The question is who is likely to be over there.
And Paul Oyama is the most likely. Is the most likely. Paul Oyama.
I happen to know
one belt.
Oyama knows
one real belt.
Pause for a minute. Pause for a minute, guys. Okay. Yeah, but just pausing for a minute. Okay, now you guys, I do kind of want to go back and forth just a little bit because I definitely agree with both you guys on these are wonderful picks. Just kind of pointed out because you guys are approaching it a little bit different. I do want Rocha. I do kind of want you to kind of focus on just a little bit, emphasize more why Brianne Chandler wouldn't be all that great in Japan. Even like kind of go from being underappreciated, but also like maybe if you can talk about like I hate to say downplay her attributes, but because I feel
that's the thing. If you want me to do that, I don't want to do it, but I can do it. I don't want to do it, but I can do it. As long as this is just a debate and we're having fun and everybody understands
that's all it is. This is
are not to be taken seriously. And I certainly don't want this to be something that people use against Brianne in any way, shape, or form. But I can do that if we're just having the debate.
That is the case.
If we're just having the debate, here's the deal. Japanese people respect a winner. They don't respect someone who quits because it gets tough or because it's hard. The Japanese people are tough people. They've survived nuclear wars. They've survived bombs on their country to come out of it and climb out of the rubble. They didn't shirk when they got upset or unsettled by something. They came forward. Paul Oyama does that. Paul Oyama's taken hits, lost titles, changed characters. He's even better and more loved now. He's a driven, determined winner, and he took the country, he took this league by storm, and he won a real belt, not a made-up belt that you got from the fabrics and mics and built yourself, which is what happened behind the scenes. He won a real belt that was agreed upon by everybody involved in the Schmoedown. He didn't create a belt just so he could feel good about himself. He won that belt that was there to win, and he did it, and he showed that he can do it, and he's strong.
Kelsey, I did not give Bibbs enough time to kind of give any kind of follow up to that. Can you give him 30 seconds as well?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But also, Bibbs, just kind of counter that, like Rocha would, with Rocha's argument in favor of Oyama, like why wouldn't he be? I mean, just like going in that direction where why wouldn't he be successful in Japan?
Okay, the argument isn't who would be successful in Japan. The argument is who's most likely to be big in Japan.
It's
an expression that is reserved. It's in Urban Dictionary. It's on, I think, Wikipedia, referring to people who are not appreciated where they are and are appreciated elsewhere. Paul Oyama is appreciated here. He won a belt. Rocha's right. He won a belt outright. He has fans here. He's very successful here. That right there is just basically kind of disqualifying right now. Yeah, okay, he's popular in Japan, but I'm not going to be presumptuous enough to tell people in Japan what to think and what they're going to say. Am I done? Do I get my whole 60 seconds for rebuttal there?
Yeah, you still have rebuttals.
Okay, I'm good now. Okay, so
yeah.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. I'm sorry, my bad.
No, is that we still have our closing statements. Just want to let you guys know. Yeah, I kind of asked you guys like when I didn't realize how low the time was when I asked you guys that question, so that was my bad completely.
Okay,
these are both awesome picks. I have so many mixed feelings for both of them, and I just want to let you guys know if you're watching this. Again, like this is not in kayfabe. Again, just want to remind you, everything Rocha and Bibbs saying, this is just for the argument's sake. This is not going outside of this. You can't really apply this towards like being like, oh, Rocha's being mean about Brian Chandler. No, Bibbs is being mean about Oyama. No, that's not the case. Just want to just solidify that, thought process when selecting a winner and like going outside in social media and all that fun stuff.
Exactly.
Yes. Just want to reaffirm. Okay, well, we're gonna make our closing statements. Again, we're gonna be wrapping it up with Bibbs for your closing statement, and you can make any final statements to really kind of poke any holes as well.
Yeah. All right, Rocha is arguing the literal question. I am arguing the platonic ideal of the figurative version of this question, which is again someone who doesn't have the success that they deserve where they're from, but elsewhere, they deserve it. And that's the question. Who is most likely to be big in Japan? Not who is currently big in Japan because he's big here too. I think that's a difference. I think that's an enormous difference. And I think that's kind of a cheat. I think that's just saying Paul Oyama is really, really great. Yeah, I think we all acknowledge that. He had one of the best rookie seasons ever. Brienne doesn't get the acknowledgement she deserves. She is more akin to Anvil, this amazing band that finally got some recognition elsewhere than she is just some concert goer who could sell out someplace anywhere because they're just that popular and that well known and that well respected. I think the issue amongst the question is who deserves more respect than they get and who deserves it wherever they could find it. And for me, that can only be more than anyone else in the league, Brian Chandler.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. That makes complete sense. Absolutely. All right. Over to you, Rocha. You have 1 minute to really solidify in the noggins your answer.
All right. Well, this is a funny thing that Bibbs brings up because he goes, in a hypothetical world, figuratively, when I dream in fantasy land and think about it and write about it on my train rides like J.K. Rowling, I'm dealing with the reality of what's happening here. And the reality is what Schmoedown personality is most likely to be big in Japan, and Paul Oyama is most likely to be big in Japan. Not only is he a son of Japan, he is also a warrior and a fighter, and he respects it. He's a silent warrior like most of the great Japanese heroes are, only called upon when they need to take care of business. And when they're in there, he's a silent assassin, like I mentioned, the Tokyo Drifter, as opposed to Brienne Chandler. Brienne Chandler had a chance, yes, first female here in the league, but also shirked at what she was supposed to do and ran away when it got too tough. That's the shame of it. Then she had a belt that she built out of a fabric store to make herself feel better in case she won it, and happened to coincidentally win it that year. So those kinds of things, the Japanese people don't respect you kissing your own ass. They don't. They respect you winning and doing things that you're supposed to do and playing along and not creating things that glorify yourself. They're a humble culture, but a proud culture, and polyamory is that.
Woo!
Woo!
Kelsey, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of glad I'm not like officially judging this.
Absolutely. I'm glad that it's not my decision, because
I'm going to, my mind is going in a million different directions. But I'm kind of glad. But if you're watching this, you have the power in your votes, in your hands, to determine who's going to walk away from these arguments a winner. Absolutely. So go ahead and go on Twitter and make your opinions known. And, while you're there, give us a follow. That would be pretty cool as well. Okay. Now, Drew, just popping. Drew is coming back again. I am arguing that the big in Japan is defined by Tom Waits.
Oh, Jesus.
There you go.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know who Tom Waits is, but cool.
What? What?
Wow.
Get out, millennial.
Model?
Wow.
Oh, Tom Waits.
I'm not.
Did you ever see?
I was like, I'm not a music person.
Wait.
I'm not.
If I could take the pole position here, Bibbs. Have you ever seen Mystery Men, Alex?
Right?
Have you ever seen Mystery Men?
1999. Yeah.
That's a Herkimer battle jitney.
He's the guy that trains, that's giving them their weapons there when they go to the junkyard. That's Tom Waits.
He's also one of the greatest musicians of his generation, and you can take
he is
albums at random and have your mind blown.
Hey, I just discovered
album. That's the one.
So it's I'm so late to the music game.
I'm not. Listen, I think it's a program myself. We're not trying to be gatekeepers. This is just a great opportunity for you to find out who John Waits is. Yes, genius. And I actually
Tom Waits.
Did I say John? Wow.
You said John Waits. That's a different guy.
This is a great opportunity for you to find out who Tom Waits is and to listen to his music. He's brilliant. My personal favorite is Frank's Wild Years. I hope you check it out.
I
like Closing Time. I think that's the
writing it down. Tom Waits.
Yeah.
Doing it now.
Right.
Rocha and Bibbs will slaughter me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Will slaughter me. SL.
Get used to this kind of singing. That's Tom Waits.
Slaughter me if I don't listen. Okay, noted. All right, now guys, we are going to be killing some time just a little bit while you guys go ahead over to our Twitter to vote, like I mentioned. And in the meantime, we're going to wait for you guys to go vote right now. You guys got 15 minutes. You guys got 5 minutes. So go do it right now. Again, it's important to vote right now because if you end up voting in like tomorrow or in 3 hours, it's not gonna matter because we're not gonna tally all the votes in like 3 hours. We're tallying it right after these 5 minutes. But in the meantime, you guys, Bibbs,
hi,
how you doing?
Rocha does not make this easy,
right?
Ditto, my brother. Ditto.
Yeah, this is. I've got the vapors right now. I gotta get back to work after this. So this is a
lot of strong
emotion.
Arguing, with some pretty, when you're passionate about something, definitely you can kind of do that to the body for sure. What about you, Rocha? How do you feel about making your arguments?
Let me tell you all something. I am 4 centuries old, and it is tough to argue sometimes. It emotionally takes it out of you. When I was 20, I did this like it was like drinking water. But now as I get older, it certainly exhausts me to go into this gear as strongly for such a consistent amount of time, and especially against such a great competitor like Bibbs. So certainly I'm exhausted from the back and forth, but certainly had a great time going back and forth with it. It's always great to have your knowledge and intelligence and your ability to think on your feet tested by someone who is just as good, if not better, than you. And it's fun to do that. So I really had a good time tonight. But I probably will have to take a long hot shower afterwards to relax.
Yeah. Well, I think
we all do.
I just want to let you know, you're definitely not 4 centuries old. You do not act 4 centuries old. If anything, someone thinks you're 5 centuries old at least. So
Paul is barely 5 years old. Give me a break. He just got his first pimple yesterday, for God's sake. Chris Hall.
Well,
have you ever kissed a girl, Chris Hall? Anyway, go ahead.
But also, Drew, Let's only talk Tom Waits. Again, I will definitely be doing some Googling after this. And yes, Kelsey,
Drew,
thank you. You guys got 3 minutes.
There's only one T in Tom Waits, Drew.
I was like, what kind of music does Tom Waits make? I don't know. Is it like singer-songwriter? Is it like, I don't even know. Is it just a guy?
He is a singer-songwriter.
Oh, okay. What kind of genre is it?
Well, he changes like Bob Dylan does through the years. I don't know if you know who Bob Dylan is, but like Tom Waits, when he's
like last year.
No, Tom Waits starts out, his first album, Closing Time, is way more relaxed Tom Waits. And later, as the years progress, his voice gets more gravelly and deeper, but also the subject matter gets way more expansive and emotional for sure. So that's what's so great about Tom Waits, the progression. Martha is probably my favorite song. Makes me cry every time. Martha's one of the most beautiful songs ever written. Meatloaf did a phenomenal cover of it as well, but it's about this guy running into an ex-girlfriend of his or a woman he used to love very much and seeing how different they are and how they've moved on from their lives, but still he misses her, yet she's moved on. So it's like a beautiful, heartbreaking song. So, but there's other great ones too.
Something about breaking your heart a little bit for sure. Yeah, do you have a favorite song, Bibbs?
Innocent When You Dream. I think it is the ultimate tavern.
Oh, great one.
It's just, it'll make you cry. Even the first time you hear it, it's just about regret and lost innocence. And it's just beautiful.
Well, I mean, like now more than ever, I'm not going to lie. I'm definitely going to go back and listen to, do some Googling and check out these songs. But I don't know if I want to listen to music where I'm going to end up crying in a corner. And
I hear you. I really do.
Like on my 10th, like White Claw in like 5 minutes. You know, what kind of music should I listen to kind of get me pepped up and excited for the day?
Okay, listen to Tom Waits' Temptation. That's fun. Okay. That'll get you ready for partying. Okay. That'll get you ready for drinking. That's a fun one.
All right.
I think anything from the Tiger King. Certainly some fun songs in the Tiger King. So
listen to underappreciated one-hit wonders here. Dexy's Midnight Runners. They did Come On Eileen. That's all anyone knows from here. They have 3 albums. Every single album is perfect.
Yeah. Ooh. I don't disagree with them on that one.
Yeah.
There was a decade called the 80s, Alex.
The 80s? What?
Oh my God. Was it Madonna in the 80s?
I feel really bad. Again, you guys, we got 1 minute left to vote. Voted. Go do it.
I would throw in Journey as a band that has great music that picks you up. That's another one that you could go on.
Old Journey or New Journey?
Old Journey, not New Journey. Old Journey. I mean, the entire soundtrack for Vision Quest, that song on the soundtrack for Vision Quest is the greatest running song ever written. Only the young can say. Brilliant running song.
Okay. I'm definitely going to be putting together a nice Spotify playlist coming to you guys soon. And I'm going to be listening to all of these songs. And hopefully I will try not to cry in the shower. But who knows? Who knows?
No guarantee.
To Martha and Innocent When You Dream. Who knows? All right. I'm going to go ahead and get these votes together. In the meantime, Rocha, where can we reach you and all the amazing things you're working on and all that good stuff?
Oh, listen, I'm hustling like crazy, so you can find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. But please, all of you, come on over to the YouTube channel. I'm doing so many shows there, trying to create my own outlet from scratch, www.youtube.com/John Rocha Says. I got offered from other outlets to come and do some freelance work for them, but I'm sacrificing that to create my own outlet. I want to create my own voice as a Latino in this business, in this industry. I want to create my outlet as a Latino-owned outlet to do whatever it can do in this business, to cover movies, review movies, be a critic, whatever, but also create great shows and content on there as well. So I'm very focused on trying to do that. I'm probably sacrificing some money, but it's what I want to do, and I'm taking a chance on that. So if any of you want to come over and subscribe, I'd be most appreciative. Shout out to the Call Action Army.
Yeah, the Army is strong, and we love everyone. We are so grateful to the Schmoedown community, and we're just grateful to the Schmoedown people. I mean, you guys really kind of brought us together and really made us a family. So we can't be more grateful, for sure. And over to you, Bibbs. I know you are doing a million things. Just like Rocha, you're doing 1,000,001 amazing things, doing everything starting from scratch, like you said. Bibbs, what are you working on, and how can we be a part of your world?
Okay. Right now I'm mostly working on the critically acclaimed Patreon, patreon.com/critically acclaimed network. We have a ton of free shows on that network on wherever you can find podcasts. Critically acclaimed, we review new movies. We've got mail. We answer your mail. Canceled Too Soon, we review TV shows that lasted one season or less. Most recently, we have an episode about Star Wars droids. And we have a brand new show that we just debuted on that network called Episode Zero, where we are reviewing the films that inspired Star Wars, one new film every single week. So we're using Star Wars to teach about film history, and I'm really excited about that. But over at the Patreon, we have a ton of exclusive content. We've got All Our Yesterdays, a podcast where we review every single episode of Star Trek in production order. Only the Best, where we're reviewing every single film ever nominated for Best Picture in chronological order. Out of Gas, our new Firefly podcast. We're doing every episode of Firefly. We've got a show called...
We can list all our shows. I'll do that after.
Well, go ahead. We're doing Not on Disney Plus.
Please do, Rocha.
It's a monthly show in which we talk about Disney material that for no particularly good reason is not on Disney Plus. We also do commentary tracks. We just dropped a commentary track for Citizen Kane. That is me and my co-host Whitney Seibold. And of course, we're on Twitter at Critic Acclaim, and I'm at William Bibbiani.
Oh. On the Outlaw Nation, Outlaw, you can certainly come on in. For those of you who are the top 10, if you haven't been aboard the top 10 train, we're doing that podcast for 4 years. Now, me and Matt Nost, we pick a particular theme for the week, and we count down the top 10 movies. We don't tell each other our lists. We show up, surprise each other, then combine the list at the end of the show. It's certainly a fun conversation at the end, trying to combine our list and fight for our choices. The Cinephiles is another show I've been doing for about 3 years now. Steve Morris and I. Steve is a director here in town in Los Angeles, and we take one classic movie or one great movie and break it down anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5 hours. We just did Spartacus. That was a 5-hour podcast. We split into 2 parts. That's so much fun remembering films. So if you enjoy, we just Hunt for Red October is coming out this weekend. So come and join us there at the Cinephiles. And on the Outlaw Nation channel, I've been doing Mornings with the Outlaw every morning, 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Thank you to Jake Iacovetta, who's been incredible with the overlays and the thumbnails for that. Also, shout out to Paul Denuzio and Billy Belford, who've been incredibly supportive with my stuff there. Also, got the Outlaw Nation show. Just had Roxy Stryer on last night. That's every Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. I've got Ken Knapsack coming on next week. And of course, I've got the Geek Buddies as well over there on the Outlaw Nation show. Michael Vogel is an executive in animation who's been doing it for a number of years. My friend Shannon McClung is an actor and a writer as well of numerous episodes of animated TV. The three of us go get into it about geek news every week. And the number one show, no, it's not the number one show, but certainly one of my favorite shows, and that is the new one, Game Time, the sports show I do with Winston Marshall and Jay Washington. Ben Goddard was on last week. A lot of fun doing that as well. So a lot of eclectic shows in there and some pro wrestling, strong style. We've got that on there as well. So there's a lot for you to enjoy movie-wise, entertainment-wise, sports-wise, pro wrestling-wise, all of that. And eventually maybe music-wise, and maybe I'll get Alex on to come talk about Tom Waits and her journey into the Tom Waits boudoir, so to speak.
I'll be like, huh? Again, okay, just want to let you guys know.
Weekend at Rocha's, one last one. That's the new one that just started. Me and Drew, on Friday nights, getting a little toasted, talking about whatever's going on in the world. She wants me to plug that, so I'm plugging it.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah. Okay, at the end of the day, guys, I know there's a bunch of you guys in it. No matter what you're into, maybe you're not a fan of Schmoedown, maybe you're more of a fan of sports, or maybe you're more of a fan of Star Trek, whatever it may be. If you're into any of that stuff, any kind of combination of stuff, either one of these fine people is going to have something for you to love. So definitely check out their pages, check out their podcasts, all that good stuff. Because I know Critically Acclaimed is one of my favorite podcasts. I remember telling that to you when we were walking towards stage at the award show. I was like, oh my gosh, Critically Acclaimed! I love that podcast. It's so good.
I thought you were being so polite.
Top 10 was the first podcast that I actually just when I discovered Schmoedown, that was the first podcast I actually jumped onto after I was like, oh, John Rocha, he's saying he's part of the top 10. I guess that's a real thing. So I'm going to listen to this podcast. And as a result, I listen to a bazillion podcasts now. So it's a wonderful world we are a part of. So awesome. Now we have our votes.
The moment of truth.
The moment of truth is here. We have a winner. We have a loser. We were our round one. We had 129 votes.
Wow.
With 67% in favor of Bibbs with Rachel's Betrayal with Ken.
There you go. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very nice.
All right. For round number 2, with 106 points, with 106 votes, with 50.9% of the votes.
So close.
And this is why it's so important to vote. Every single one of you guys.
Percents matter.
It is in favor of Bibbs with Finstock.
Oh, bullshit.
I thought I was going to lose that one.
Bullshit.
I thought I was going to lose that one. That's crazy.
Yes.
It was
And
so
round
close.
number 3. Oh, sorry. I just realized I still have a question up. So, biggest Schmoedown personality, most likely to be big in Japan, with the winner with 55.4% of the vote. Oh, sorry. I actually read that one wrong. With 65 votes, with 55.4% in favor of the vote, it is with John Rocha with Paul Yama.
Oh, lost by 0.9%. Son of a bitch. Story of my life.
So
Therefore, Bibbs is walking away the winner. Congratulations.
Yay! Is the belt in the mail? Do I get a belt?
It's definitely coming to you.
It's only belts,
Absolutely.
right? That's all we care about is belts? Okay.
That's how it works here. Congratulations, Bibbs. You're going to be walking away with all the bragging rights in the world, and you beat Rocha today, and that's no easy feat for sure.
No,
All right.
It was
I'm sorry. What?
Put
No,
that
it's not easy to
Joshua.
I
Joshua
know
Burnett's statement up there.
Well, this was a pretty intense match. I mean, obviously, like mentioned, Bibbs, you're walking away the victor. Do you have any final thoughts? With all your arguments, or is there anything you would change about your arguments?
Who, me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, listen. Rocha made the point right here. It's like movie fights. We're picking who we think we can argue best. It's not necessarily who we would pick. And I'm going to be honest here. One of the reasons I picked Tom Dagnino was because I thought it'd be really fun to see John Rocha talk about how he's not a good manager. And it was a lot of fun. What a delight this was. So I feel pretty good about it. I stand by my choices. That last question was tricky because I think we were both kind of on different pages about what the question actually meant. So it was a little difficult to debate that one. Fair arguments on both sides. But this was a lot of fun. I'm really glad we did it. I'm really glad we got to do it with Rocha. Luca, I'll feed you in a minute, buddy. Cat wants dinner. Sorry.
My cat is also in the room, only he's napping on that sweater he was fighting against earlier. And over to you, Rocha. I mean, you are one of the most very vocal competitors in the game. Obviously, so beating you when it comes to Schmoedown, anything Schmoedown related, arguments as well, it's definitely one of the hardest things anyone can ever do in their lives. Is there anything you would change, though, with your arguments or anything going into today?
No, I think I presented it pretty well. It's tough to win when you're the Outlaw on a call to action podcast. So, it's okay. I take my loss with a grain of salt. Chris Adams was saying that I was in the lead at the buzzer on question 2, but somehow in the comments, it got all messed around and less people voted per question. So maybe if more people had voted, like Alex said, I might have come out of this thing the winner.
Yes.
And I think in the long run, when we take the votes again tomorrow, when more people watch this, I'll probably end up being the winner. So I can go to sleep with that peacefully in my mind.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, this was a lot of fun. I love arguing this kind of stuff, and it reminds me of movie fights, which I really enjoyed. Yes, I never really won on movie fights, but it was always great to go back and forth with people. I have my own reasons why I think I didn't win on movie fights, but we'll leave that for another time. But I thought it was a lot of fun to do that. So this is kind of doing it again and kind of, I don't know, working out this old muscle in that way. It was fun to do. And I appreciate you all giving us the chance to do this. And Bibbs, it's always fun to go toe to toe with you on anything. And losing by only 0.9% is not a bad thing in my life. So that's a fun overall thing. But I will say, I want to make it very, very clear. What I said about Dagnino didn't mean a word of it. That was all just to debate it and to try to win this thing. And that's what the game is. I love Dagnino as my manager. I wouldn't want anybody else as my manager. He knows exactly how to talk to all of us when we're in those high pressure situations. And he knows how to take care of business. Plus, I'm 1-0 against Dagnino as a manager. So I'll take that record for myself. And the other thing, and I want to make it very, very clear, what I said about Brienne, it was in the debate format. All right. I respect Brienne very much. We had a nice exchange yesterday over text. All that is just to win this debate. Certainly wasn't in any way, shape, or form meant to denigrate Brienne or anything that she's accomplished in the game. And I agree with Bibbs. She is underrated, underappreciated in this game. And maybe someday she'll get her appreciation. She'll get her. I know her losing those entrance awards is really grated on her over the years. So I totally feel her pain in that way. So hopefully someday, that will change and people will maybe do a documentary on Brienne and what she was able to do as Miss Movies. That could be fun. I know that Eric spoke about that last night on his birthday podcast. Alex, you were there. He said that they are considering doing now to fill in the time, doing one documentary a month on a player. I certainly would nominate Brienne to be one of those people that they cover in a documentary, as 100%. Bibb said, so people could know everything that she's done for the league and in the league.
Yeah, she does a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, and everything she's contributed, especially now that we have there's a lot more people, new fans, new viewers, and everything to the Schmoedown community. So skipping on the greatness that is Brienne Chandler is a little sad. So we definitely need more of her, and hopefully she comes back in some fashion. Only time will tell, so fingers crossed. Okay, so again, Bibbs, thank you so much. Rocha, also fantastic, and love you guys in every single way. We're going to wrap things up here. Again, everyone who's watching us, please like and subscribe. We have so much content here with C2A. We work really hard to put some stuff out for you guys in these weird and trying times, so come and hang out and laugh and make fun of us for a while, because we know we do. All right, and also Kelsey, the love of my life, the gorgeous, the beautiful, the awesomely epic. Where can we find you?
All right, you can find me. You can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. I also run the Call to Action podcast Instagram, so you can interact with me there. TeePublic, we have merch. A lot of amazing people like Janine the Machine have merch on TeePublic. Please go check it out. Support local artists. We all need help right now, and so if you could buy amazing, cool T-shirts and just help everyone out a little bit, I recommend doing that. I also have my own channel at my name, Kelsey Kirkland. So just search for me and click on my face and subscribe if you're interested. I cover lots of DC stuff, especially Harley Quinn, play video games, things like that.
Especially watching you play your video games is always a fun time. Very interesting game choices.
I pick very weird games. It's true.
For sure. And I'm Alex Mack, part of the Call to Action crew, and I host Schmoebates every single Wednesday, and I come hang out with this awesome lady on Sundays on occasion for Call to Action Live. You can also check us out in audio form everywhere, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, everywhere podcasts are found. So definitely come and check out and subscribe us there. But like, subscribe, comment. We love you guys. Thank you again so much. I'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.